Nothing, right?
No,
I don't do
we don't
anything
have
from
to do
my
anything.
side. Okay.
Hello, hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to our live interview with Luz Maria Surco. We're gonna talk about her book. The book is here with me. She was so kind to send me a copy before our interview. And the book is called The Ugly Truth About Multicultural Relationships and the Effect on Parenting. So we're gonna be here for the next 1 hour. We're gonna hear from Luz. We're gonna learn so much about relationships, about parenting. This book was amazing. I learned so much, Luz. Thank you very much.
A
And
pleasure.
yes, please, Luz, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dana. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. I wrote this book from the bottom of my heart because I do believe that in relationships, love is not enough, and we need to learn how to, be in a relationship in the most compassionate, loving, holistic ways. And this is why I was inspired to write this book. As you know, I'm a holistic psychotherapist. I am also a clinical hypnotherapist, a life coach, and I am also working with parents. So everything is really interconnected with each other, and this is why the title of the book, relationships and the connection to parenting.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. My question is, what made you write this book? How come the idea came to you to write the book?
Okay, so I wanted to share my personal experience to help many women like me who have been married in a multicultural relationship. Because sometimes, and this is why the name is called The Ugly Truth, sometimes we go into marriages expecting that everything is going to be fine, and it's okay to marry fast and have children. But I realized that there was so many things that I did not consider when I was getting married to a completely different, cultural conditioned man. And we never spoke about many things that we should have before we got married. And it's only after we got married that we started to discover many, glitches in our relationship, and also many core decisions that we should have discussed prior to getting married. So this is why I wanted to share my story with many women like me, particularly in a multi-diverse environment like Dubai. Here we are all foreigners. We meet here, we get married, but nobody talks about what's going on these multicultural marriages. Are they working? So many aspects. And I wanted to share that with people and perhaps give them a roadmap in how to work on these multicultural relationships.
Yeah, yeah. When you told me about the title of the book, I was like, oh my God, that's for me. That's for me. I saw the photo, with family here with a
Mm-hmm.
daughter. I put like, this is us. This is us. My
Yes.
husband is from Australia. I know, and I have so many friends who are in multicultural relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, this book is needed. What you put out there is very, very important.
Mm.
So
Yes.
thank you for writing it. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I read it in 2 days. So I read usually before going to bed. So that one kept me very interested. And you share so many personal stories and
Mhm.
of yours. So you say that you married, someone you didn't have any questions to ask. So for the ones who are listening, what would be the questions that we miss asking?
So when I married Dana, I married absolutely blind to even the fact of why was I getting married, right? I was a young girl in Dubai. I came here when I was only 20, and I got married when I was 28. And there are many cultural aspects that drove me to the decision to get married. And one of them, and that's why it's important to focus on the cultural conditioning, is that I was a Latina, 27 years old. My parents, my mother was already asking me, when are you going to get married? When are you going to get married? So, and this is very cultural in South America because by 21, generally, in my time, you are already married. So there was a pressure there already for me to get married. And I was 27 and I was really happy. I was traveling, I had a good job, I was traveling around the world. At that time, I was working for Emirates Airlines. And it was a really, not as a cabin crew, I was on ground, but I was traveling and I was really happy. However, when I met my husband, of course, we click, we have a good synchronicity. And he proposed me marriage because, again, in his culture, being an Arab Muslim man, he could not date a woman. He needed to marry her before going into a marriage. So you see there already there is a multicultural, difference. And when he proposed me, I found that proposition very, very flattering. I was really happy that he was proposing me to marry it. And internally I thought, oh wow, he really must respect me. He really wants good for me. And so this is why I accepted it. But did I really question, do I want to marry? Do I want to settle down and have a family? No, I didn't. It came from a place that I was, again, pressurized by my culture, being a Latina, and again from the side of my ex-husband. Well, he was asking me to marry it immediately without considering where are we going to live, how many children we are going to have, and when we get older, where are we going to settle down. So there are many, many questions, and this is only in the surface. The other type of questions that we also need to know is, well, tell me about you, like, what are your languages of love? What are your, you know the things that you don't like, that you don't enjoy? Tell me more about your childhood experience. Who is your mother? And things that we might think are not important, but they are, because, like, at times we carry so many generational traumas that we don't even know until we go into relationships. So, yeah, there are so many questions that I didn't consider. So if you ask me when I got married, oh dear, there was so many things I wish I could have asked.
Yeah. And us who are already married, I'm married to my husband for the past 7 years. And so there are questions I haven't asked. Is it too late to ask now?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I appreciate that now you are married, but will you like to have a stronger bond with your husband? Will you like to have a stronger bond with your husband?
Yes,
So,
yes, I'm sure. And the ones who listen have the
yeah.
same want. Yeah, I mean,
Yes. So it's not too late. I would say now that you are in a relationship, perhaps you can upgrade your relationship to a relationship where you both can genuinely get to know each other from a place of genuine authenticity, and at the same time, a place of compassion, of the acceptance that you both are so unique. And yes, both of you might have flaws, but can we be honest to each other? Can we really get to know each other? Tell me more about your parenting experience when you were a child. How was mom? How was dad? How did you learn love from them? How were you disciplined by parents? And I think you read it on some of the chapters in my book that I talk about attachment styles. I never knew this until I studied psychology. I never knew that my style of loving, because that's what attachment styles are, I didn't know that my attachment style is anxious. I thank God, developed through with therapy. I was an anxious attached, which means that I learned love by constant validation. I needed this constant reassurance from my husband to tell me that he loves me, he misses me, text me message. And when he didn't, I would freak out. I didn't know that that was my way of understanding love. And again, this comes from the unawareness, the not having education, that actually my way of loving come from my mom, from my dad, because they taught me love like this. It was so unpredictable. It was so inconsistent because my mother was a working full-time single mother and she couldn't be there. So I would, as a child, always ask, is my mommy coming back? Am I loved? Am I seeing? Am I important? So I was anxious about the connection that I had to the most important people in my life, which was my parents. So little I knew that my ways of learning how to love comes from my childhood experience. And many of us don't know that.
Yeah, we say in Romania that we marry our fathers, like for women, we marry our fathers, and I
Yeah.
find so many similarities between my husband and my dad. Uh, yes,
Oh, it's okay.
yeah,
You
it's
talk.
my
Yeah.
cat is making noise, and I want to let it out. If you give me a second,
Yes, of
all
course.
right?
Absolutely.
One
Yes.
second. Yeah, I'm back. The beauty of
That's
having
fine.
going live,
Life,
things
exactly.
happen.
So let's flow with the flow. Let's flow with it.
Okay, amazing, amazing. So I want you to tell me from your perspective and the way I see, as we marry our fathers as women, right? Well, as
Mm-hmm.
we say, like
Mm-hmm.
our fathers, we try to do
Yeah.
that. What are the chances to? Why are we doing that? And what are the chances for them to change? I think all women want their husbands to change in a way. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
saying maybe weird. I'm saying putting weird stuff out. Just tell me,
No,
maybe
no, no,
answer
no. It
questions.
makes sense. Maybe I reframe it a bit. The thing about us as women or men, again, I'm going to explain this. We learned love. Oops. Um, the camera went off.
Sorry.
Okay, now
Yeah,
we're
you can start again.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, no worries. So what I was saying is that we human beings, we learned love from the very first people that taught us about love. So we learn love in our parenting experience with our parents. It's our parents that give us the roles of a male and a female. Yes. So if I had a father who was present, loving, very caring, and he was there consistent with me, number one, I'm going to get the message that I must be very valuable to my dad, and this is why he is there for me. So your self esteem and your self worth is going to be high. And when you grow as an adult, you are going to want a person that simulates that kind of a man. If you are a female, right? You want to marry the man of your life who was your dad, and you're going to want your husband to have many traits that your father showed you, because that's familiar to you. It is familiar. And in the human mind, and this is from 100,000 years of evolution, we humans survive in this earth always going towards what is familiar. So if I had a love like this in my childhood, I also want this in my adulthood. That is for us female. For men, it's the same thing. If they had a mother who, let's say, was shouting and scolding and shaming and very judgmental, and so this love was dysfunctional, as they grow as men, they will look in a woman what they have experienced from the love of a mother. So they will, again, these are patterns, standard patterns, they will find a woman that has many traits from mom. And I see this every day in my coaching sessions. I see this every day in the couple, therapy sessions that I have with my clients. Indeed, we get married to the characteristics, the personality traits of our parents. It is important to understand that, because then we can actually correct them. So we can talk about it with the therapists, and we can talk to our partners about this, and sort of let them know the things that we don't like and we like because of the trauma we experience in our childhood experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And when we say that yes, I don't like you about whatever my dad was doing, and I don't like you doing that. Uh, is that changing the
So
relationship in a way?
I love this question. I love this question because imagine if I tell you in this tone, you do this to me, you always do that to me, and I don't like it because my father was doing that to me, so don't do it again. So imagine if I talk to you like this. I don't think this is going to change. But if I talk to you in an assertive way and I said, look, I see what you're doing, and I really understand that this is your way of doing things. But when you do that, this reminds me my childhood when my dad used to shout at me or whatever the husband is doing, let's say. And when he did that, the way I feel was I got nervous, I really got tired, and I don't like that. I don't respond well to that. I know that what you're trying to tell me is this, but you are doing this. Can we work on this? Because this is not going to let me respond in the way you need me to respond. So, can you understand me? Can we not do that again in our relationship? Will you be more available to change, would you say?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so this is why it's important between couples to understand what has happened in childhood that affected this human being and that have adapted certain responses in the person, and this is what they get trigger. That word trigger, I want to perhaps maybe educate people on this trigger word, because trigger is what it is. If you have a gun, this is the trigger you press, and then there is a bullet and an ammunition that goes out, and it causes explosion. And this is what I understand, or I learned, is that the trigger, when it happens into you, you get triggered by something, the gun is pointing at you, and someone is just clicking the trigger, but the explosion of the ammunition, the emotional explosion, it happens in you, which means there is something there that you need to understand, that you need to work on and recognize, where did this trigger come from, and how can I ask my partner to help me compassionately to understand my trigger, and also to help me heal from this poof, explosion, but not from a place of attack. I don't
Yeah.
need to attack you. I can actually ask you, please empathize with me, understand me. This is what happened in my
Mhm.
childhood experience or in the past, in any trauma of the past. Can you please empathize with me?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that applies for any relationship, not
Any,
multicultural, but any
no,
relationship.
any.
Yeah.
The funny thing about the book, and I think I told you this before in our conversations, is that I know the title is Multicultural Relationships, but in core, genuinely, this book is meant for any relationship, any, regardless of your nationality, because the fundamentals of conscious and holistic and peaceful relationships are in the book. So you need to read the book in any relationship that you are, romantic relationship, or if you are already in a relationship
Yeah.
and you are considering having children.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And I remember talking to a friend of mine years back. He was for France. And he
Hmm.
told me in French, there is an expression, is what he
Hmm.
told me, that is the best marriage is that you should marry your um, neighbor, because you have things to say, you have, you know the same people, you know each other. And I that's when you said, multicultural, as the ones, different countries, different religions, sometimes, different language, it brings so much unknown. And I'd like you
Hmm.
to tell me, what are the challenges that multicultural relationships face, what others wouldn't?
Okay, I'll tell you mine. I can give you a very
Yeah.
easy example of mine. I mean, I'm a Latina, and my husband is Lebanese. And I remember vividly, and I think I wrote it in my book. We used to go to the malls, right? Dubai is full of malls, and we used to go to the malls. And one thing I noticed is that he will always walk in front of me, right? He will never let me walk in front of him or beside him. So he will go in front of me, and I would really get angry at this. I couldn't understand it. In my mind, I was like, how disrespectful he is, and it really made me mad. And it made me cook a resentment towards him that actually was cultural, but because for him, walking ahead for him represented he's the male, he's the leader, he protects, he's in front. Culturally, this is how he saw it. He never really meant behind that behavior to hurt me or to insult me or to disrespect me. Yet, because of the not communication of what it meant for him, And what it meant for me, we both start clashing because I made it about me. I made it like, how dare you disrespect me? But he wasn't really. He was just doing what he has been taught to do as a man in his culture. And
Yeah.
so, that could be one example that I can give you of a vivid thing that used to happen to me, among many other things. Also,
Yeah.
in terms of deciding about the children, in his mind, my husband would say something and it has to be heard, and there's no other way, his way or the highway. But I thought, no, we are a partners. I also want to say, I also want to have an opinion on what we do and we decide. And sometimes that can be difficult for cultures where, male has kind of more, power in certain decisions. And that's okay if there are two people that get married from the same culture. Most probably an Arab woman would have understood that, but I didn't, because I was Latina. And for us in South America, there is a level of equanimity in terms of decision making, in the house, in parenting, in every decision. That's how I see the examples that even though relationships are already in itself difficult, cultural differences can add another layer of conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you wrote here the effect on parenting. So
Mhm.
what's the effect on parenting when the parents are not aligned as people, as parents, multicultural? What's the impact? How the children grow up to
So
be?
exactly. And again, I can say it by my own example. So for my children, I would say still is a bit challenging to identify who they are. You see, there is a lack of identity as well because they were born in the US. They are with a Latina mother and they have a Lebanese father. So they are a bit confused, like, who do I, identify with? And so it's important that parents are in alignment to what they want to transfer to the children, what kind of values, what kind of do's and don'ts, boundaries. And if these things are not communicated by parents and they make an alignment, the children is going to be confused, right? So if my mother says it's okay to do this, but my dad says no, this is not good and this is haram, let's say it's not allowed, then they will be like, okay, who do I listen now, because this is now confusing. So children can be confused. So I think talking about this again, the communication and the communication and the sharing of what's important for the children between the couple, and then transfer that to the children is key. So these are things that must be spoken about because it will affect the identity of the child. Luckily for me, again, I live in a country like Dubai that is very Arab, right? It's an Arabic culture. So my kids, to be fair, they identify themselves more with the Arab culture. Yes. Now my youngest son, 10 years old, it's fasting. For example, in Ramadan, he's fasting, and I love that about him because he took that. He doesn't need to, but he did it, and he identified himself with that. So as all my other boys, Adam, who is 14, and Mohammed. So they identify themselves with that. They have a sense of identity. And you know what, sometimes when they travel to South America, they also like to speak Spanish, and they love the culture, they love the food. So we make sure, me and my husband, my ex-husband, that they appreciate both cultures, both worlds. So they take the best of the Arabic culture, but at the same time, they also take the best of the Latino or South American culture.
Yeah, yeah. And and you say they are confused. So how
Yes.
does confusion look out the children? Because I doubt the child comes around and say, "Hey, mom, I'm confused." Especially when
So
they are younger. How do we know that this is the child is confused?
what I notice, for example, in my children is that particularly, on these schools here in the UAE, they have the international day where they want to be something. They have to put a T-shirt of
Yeah,
identification of the country that they are. And so when they come to me, they almost come very shy, and they're like, "So what are you going to dress me, on the day?" And I'm like, "Whatever you want." but I'm sad if I tell you that I want to put the Lebanese, t-shirt or whatever, the flag. And I'm like, why? You don't have to. He's like, because you're going to be sad. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be sad. You're Peruvian and Lebanese. You want to go as a Lebanese in this, festivities? By all means, do that. I'm not going to get sad. I know. Do you know who you are? I asked them, do you know who? Yeah, I'm half Lebanese and I'm half Peruvian. Then that's it. You do whatever you feel. Do you want me to buy you the t-shirt from Lebanon? And then they will be, yeah, okay, but are you sure you're not sad? So you see what I mean? They're questioning these things. They are, making ideas of like, if I am this, will I upset my mom? Will I make her sad? Or vice versa. Sometimes my other son comes and says, Mom, I love Peru more than Lebanon. And, I like to go to Peru, but please don't tell my dad, So you see, there is a self-awareness, there is a self-conscious, and in whenever I can, in my best and my best capabilities that I have, I teach them it's okay to feel like this. When you keep growing older, you're going to decide where you want to live or what do you want to be. It's okay to to feel or to ask these questions. So I sort of reassure them that this is a process where they need to find themselves at the end of the day.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that. A friend of mine is German.
Hmm.
Her husband is half French, half Turkish. So
Hmm.
her kids are German, Turkish, and French, who
Hmm.
have been born and live in Dubai. So when she says about where they're from, she makes a point to teach them to say that they're from Dubai, because she wants to
Mm.
give them the some kind of a root, for them to know, yes, I'm from Dubai, instead of, yes, I am always French, but this. Whereas for us, for our son, we say, where you come from? We say, well, you have Australia, have Romanian. So which one do you think is in long term, it's more beneficial for a child?
Can I tell you my genuine, and I will, of course, response to this? It doesn't matter. I
Mm,
think, in my opinion, what matters the most is that your children know that wherever they come from, they are enough and they are worth it, of love, of everything in this world. That if they feel good with themselves, if they know who they are as a core, as a human beings. I'm the daughter of my mom and my dad. Yes, they are both from two different countries, but my values are this. In my house, in South America, we are very much like the Middle Easterns and Arabs. We are very family oriented. So I want my kids to know that this is who they are, that they are people who respect family, prioritize family above work. I want them to know that honesty is important, fasting is important. I mean, I don't fast. Personally, I don't fast. And I embrace that they fast, because the core idea of fasting is that they can feel what people in hunger feel, the values of Islam, which are beautiful. And I embrace that. And I remind them, look, you are fasting because the core is this, that you understand, the hunger and famine of children in Africa. Do you understand that? And this is for me more important, the knowing within children to understand, I am from Australia, from Romania, Peru, Lebanon, but this is who I am. My values are this. And this is what I was raised to become: an honest, kind, authentic human being. I think beyond frontiers, if they have that self esteem, self confidence, and the values of a good, decent family, that's what's important. That,
yeah.
does that make sense?
Yes, yes, definitely makes sense. And it comes back to when we started the first question, what we're talking about, what is it that we decide as a couple that's important for us? And it feels
Mm-hmm.
like when you decide that these values are for me and this is what we want to pass to our children, this would be
Mm-hmm.
the values you'll be talking about, identifying and passing, making
Exactly.
sure you are living
Exactly.
it, modeling, and
Yeah.
about them, highlight them to your child, kids.
100%. 100%. So that are the discussions that must happen between parents, because, like I said, at the end of the day, this will be human beings. They are children now, but they will grow and they will become the adults who are going to treat women and men with respect. So for my boys, for instance, one of the things I teach them is that equanimity, yes, between women and men, yes. And yes, there are certain decisions that maybe men are better at, but in the same way that we women are better in other things, and that there is a level of equanimity. This is something that I feel very strong, and I pass this good value to my voice, which I want to make sure that they know, no matter what they're, which side they want to choose to be at some point, this is non-negotiable, and this is important for them to be, and to, pass this legacy to their children as well.
And is when they spend time with their dad, and dad comes with a different view of that, they say, no, the man it is, the man has the last word.
Mm.
How do they find which one is to follow?
So here is where conscious parenting kicks in. Children are by nature very divine. They know to which idea they're going to go, and they will choose the right one. They will choose the most loving one. They will choose the one that settles, this makes sense. Because they are divine by nature, they are more connected to their selves, to their authentic, unconditional love, of a child. So if I come and I say something that the kids will perceive this is not nice and this is not kind, trust me that if they have a good connection with the parent that is more, zen and more fair, children will attach to that more. Unless they are spending more time with this other parent that has maybe more rigid ideas of things. If then they are spending more time with that parent, potentially they're going to be more inclined to that kind of beliefs. Because again, children learn by observation, not by words. So monkey sees, monkey learns.
Yeah.
So if I'm a child that, let's say in the example you are giving, my father is saying this, yes, but my mom says this, but I spend more time with my mom and what she says makes sense and it's more zen, it's more loving, children will tend to go to that side again if they are spending more time with that parent. Does Yes?
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
I answer
yeah,
your question?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, all right. I can understand now. I can understand now.
Mm-hmm.
Great, awesome. I have some questions here for you, and I want to make sure I address it. Um, okay, so all couples should do couple therapy. All of them, all couples. Do you think they should have couple therapy? Multicultural,
Absolutely.
non-multicultural.
Of
Yeah, maybe.
course, I have many couples that come to me at their 50s,
Yeah.
50s, 60s. Yes, because especially Asian families whereby they have married, yes, let's say arranged marriages, and they come and they have married and now children are big and the children leave. So there is no more role in the dynamic of that relationship. There are no children. There is nothing to do. It's just now you and me. And now we have to get to know each other because before we were so busy raising the children that we didn't even have the chance to get to know each other. You know what I mean? So these couples come because they want to again reconnect, actually, and sometimes to get to know each other in depth. And so they come to couple therapy to again reconnect themselves. You would be surprised that this is very common. And there are many old couples who come back to therapy or they go to couple therapy because they want to reconnect. Because without children or without, some a point of connection, they feel lonely. They feel that they have no, love and connection if the couple never got to know each other.
Yeah, and my question was when you were talking, it was it like how would a couple know that it's
Hmm.
good for them to go to therapy? And you just said about feel disconnected, feel lonely.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that is it. I think most of the couples, even younger couples or old couples, come to couple therapy when they feel lonely, when they feel that nobody hurts them, nobody connects with them, they don't feel appreciated, they don't feel seen. That's the sign that they need therapy, and that's the sign that, unfortunately, I'm gonna say this, they shouldn't come when that is already there. In my opinion, if you ask me, couples should go to couple therapy to get to know each other profoundly and then make the decision to get married. Because in the couple therapy, you could already assess the compatibility of a couple, and also get to learn the generational, patterns that they carry, the baggage that they carry, for positive or negative. When I said the generational patterns, it doesn't need to mean bad things. It could be positive things too. But let's get to know each other before we commit to live a lifetime with each other, right? So
Yeah.
it should be that we go to couple therapy, like a sort of assessment, or a get to know deeply our childhood wounds, our traumas, our baggage, and let us see if we can help each other, be at the service of each other. So
Yeah.
that, in my opinion, that everybody should go to couple therapy
Yeah.
before getting married.
Yeah. It feels like to be a law, like you do your medical test before you get
Yeah,
married, you'd
yeah,
go to a couple therapy. Because what, 50% or more it's ending this divorce this time?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you just,
Yeah, 100%. And then not only that, we should also go to a school of parents before having children. Yes, which is something
yes.
that we spoke many times. I feel really passionate about that topic
Yeah.
of conscious parenting, because I feel we should not have children until we pass an exam, a psychological exam of emotional maturity, level of tolerance, level of patience. We should pass a test so that we can actually then, after passing that test, have children, you know?
And when if that one has happened, let's say, imagine a world where parents, before getting married, they do to get to know each other, to know the
Hmm.
patterns, as you said, and then pass the test. How would the world look like?
Oh my
Looks like an
goodness
ideal
me.
world.
Of course. I think it will look with less population, because it will not be overpopulated anymore, because we will not have children as, as an accessory to our marriage. I think we will then have children really thinking consciously that having children is a very sacred journey. It is a very, very sacred journey, and deserves for the child to have parents that are emotionally mature, and that they are ready to give up in many things. That when you have children, that I know that we need to give up a lot of things the first 3 years. There is no much sleep, there is a lot of logistics, there is a lot of giving, and it never ends. Let me get you, I don't know about you, but I have a 20-year-old. It never ends. It's always this constant providing of support, emotional availability, money, logistics. There's so many things. So the world, if you ask me how it looked like absolutely more, I think, more conscious, more, it'll be much better if we go to a school of parents.
Yeah. Is there something that you would be like, create a movement for that, or create
I
awareness?
am.
Are you? Okay. Is
I
that with the
am. I
book?
am.
Is that part of it?
Yes, I
Yeah.
am. Yes, it's in a coming soon thing, but yes,
Yeah.
indeed, I'm gonna open a school for parents, which I hope the
Wow.
audience of Dubai are considering to go. Absolutely, because we need it. I think it's time for us to grow, not only in terms of materialistic thing in this capitalistic world, all these fancy things that we do and new phones and social media. But come on, what about the psychology now? It's time for us to grow also, because there is more challenges now. Wouldn't you say? Now there is more challenges for us as parents, in terms of we are fighting now with the digital world that is taking away our kids in, attention. And so more than ever, we need school for parents. I mean, I could give you many examples in my own practice, many teenagers coming to see me because there is so many dysfunctionalities in our school system. And that's another topic on itself that I don't want to go. But,
Yeah.
there are many teenagers struggling a lot with feeling lonely, feeling not belonging to a society, to the school, not feeling understood because parents are too busy working or on social media. And so they feel so lonely, and sometimes they will harm themselves. And, well, all these, other emotional breakdowns that they have, and they're so young. We're talking about 12 years old, 13 years old, 15 years old. They're too young to be on this state of panic attack and anxiety or self-harming, that is terrible. So this is why I feel very passionate about making a school for parents.
Wow, that's is the first time I hear, and I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to hearing more. Now,
Yes.
go back to the book. If anyone wants to get the book, where they
Mhm.
should get it from?
So they can get it in two sources, Amazon.com. It is available in Amazon. So by all means, go there and order your book. And also, you can get it on my website, which is a Dubai based website, www.positiveliving.uae.com.
That's
So they
awesome.
can also get it there. Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
if anyone like to receive help from you, as a couple, as a parent,
Yes, totally. They can go to my website at positivelivinguae.com. They can also get me on Instagram, Positive Living UAE, or in my Facebook as well, Positive Living UAE. And I'm there and at the service of people, parents, couples, or individuals working on themselves. They can all
yeah,
get me there.
yeah. And I'm curious about you. I know you have three kids. You are a single mom.
Mhm.
You have your business. You're just opening a new office. You want to also have a school in the future. How do you manage all this together?
I think, and I also take care of myself. So I do my yoga, I go to the gym. I think
Yeah.
it's all, yeah, I have help. I have to admit. I'm going to say thank you to my assistant, Krishna, who is a blessing. I love him. I also have my house nanny, again, Jaime. I love you. I mean, without her, I wouldn't be who I am. And I'm very grateful to the help that I have. So I do have help. I am not doing this all by myself. That will be impossible. So I do have help from my nanny. She takes care of my house and the logistics of the house. I also, of course, have my structure in terms of timing. I have mastered my time schedule, which helps me a lot. And I also say no to more work. Sometimes I only take a certain amount of clients, even though it's appealing to me to make more money. But sometimes I have to say no because I have to be realistic to the time that I have. So I only help with, I only have 3 to 4 clients maximum a day, which is already a lot. But I could have more, but I say no. So I also have boundaries. And the
Mm,
combination of boundaries, time management, and help, my beautiful housemate and my assistant Krishna, it makes the magic. So it works.
it works for you. Yeah.
Hmm.
I know you are a coach, you are a therapist, you are a psychologist, right? And you learn this. You wanted to do more and more to be better for your clients, I assume.
Hmm.
And I know you usually quote them, and I like to give you the space to say the
Yes.
people who have influenced you and brought you where you are, and being able to have the impact what you are having
Thank
on
you
the
so
world
much for
today.
that. Thank you so much for that because I think they deserve the merit of everything that I do, and it works. So one of the first person that I always want to thank is Marisa Peer. She was the first, I guess this is why I feel so attached to her. She was the first person that helps me in my journey of therapy. Marisa, she taught me about clinical hypnosis, which is one of the most powerful techniques that I use in any coaching program that I have, whether it's with children or adults or couples. So, Marisa, I love you, and she's fantastic. I also want to thank Dr. Gabor Mate, who is my favorite mentor in terms of psychotherapy because he's a medical physician. So when he taught me stuff, he taught me from a background of science, but at the same time, because of his experience working with thousands of people. So Dr. Gabor Mate helped me to learn a technique called compassionate inquiry, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful technique. And of course, my dear friend, Dr. Shefali Tasabari, the creator of Conscious Parenting. And again, she has written books, like 8 to 10 books on parenting. She's fantastic. And and then all the other things, Daniel Siegel, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. I was very blessed to go to Oxford University conferences where I got to talk to them and meet them and ask questions. And to all of them, I owe what I have learned for all these past years. I think for me, education is the most important investment in my career And I can tell you by experience, it pays off because my clients get the benefit and then they send me more people. So I don't have to
Mm.
even spend so much in marketing because people keep coming to me and
Yeah,
I'm very grateful. Yeah.
you get it from the fellow. Yes,
Hmm.
and I wonder, as I said before, coach, therapist, psychologist. Why all? Why you didn't stop at one? Why you kept
Because
going?
yeah, because they are interconnected, Dana. You see,
Mhm.
psychotherapy is a very big field, and when you work with people, you need all these different methods. You need them. When I work with a woman that is struggling, let's say, with addictive behaviors, I could use different methods. If clinical hypnosis doesn't work, then I go to compassionate inquiry, which is a technique where I don't have to hypnotize the person. I don't have to
Yeah,
regress her to the traumas because sometimes people don't like that. But I maybe can do this, what it's called compassionate inquiry. Look at the name, it's an inquiry in a conscious mind talking to me in the most compassionate ways. And the technique is equally powerful as clinical hypnosis. So there are many methods that will work different to everybody. So not one rule fits all. So
yeah,
for me to be able to help unique individuals, I need unique methods, methodologies. So this is why I invested so much in my education.
yeah, yeah. We have 15 minutes left. We don't have to go to the 15 minutes. I want you to, if there is something that you like to tell us more about multicultural relationships, something that we have not covered.
Well, what comes to me, I also got the book here and I was again
Mm.
reading it. But what it comes to me, I would say there are also some images that I show to. I don't know if you saw the images. Did you like them?
Yes,
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 yes, because
powerful.
they're very powerful. And what I want to say about the book is that this book is not only for multicultural relationships.
Mhm.
These are for everybody in a relationship. Everybody. So read it because this is not about only multicultural relationships. These are for any kind of romantic relationship that is potentially going into a marriage, or even if it is a relationship that already married but they are struggling in the relationship. Please give a try to the book because I promise you, I guarantee you, it's going to be an eye opener. I should ask you, what do you think about the book? What are your highlights that you enjoyed the most in the book?
Love to say, focus is on you. I really enjoy your stories.
Mm,
I really enjoy your stories, Luz. One, I know you, and hearing about your stories, getting to know you better. I also love the stories of your clients, and I'm the type of person who learns through stories. So that
yeah.
it appears every time I see a story, I'm like, a story. I also like very much the way I haven't. I read, I'm a coach. I read also books, so some of the things they found um, familiar. But there is this part I just come now where it says about different marriages and what's the
Mm-hmm.
challenges and how it's going to work, because I haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen this. For example, Middle Eastern Western marriages, how are they? Japanese Western. If there was something for, a wish maybe for a revision for the future books, would have gone deeper into that.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
Mm-hmm.
the that
Yeah.
Yes, the photos are very powerful. If this woman
Mm-hmm.
screaming here, it's
Mm-hmm.
very powerful. And the one I've seen before is the two adults and they were like kids
And the
inside.
yeah, the inner
Yeah,
children, yeah, the inner
yes,
child. I like that
yes.
one as well. I also like the one. Yes, that's the one. I also like this one, the
Yeah.
one with the tree. The child is the tree. That's the
Mm.
child, and the
Mm-hmm.
parents are seeding and putting the water and fertilizer. This is very powerful for me because this is what conscious parenting does. Is two parents
Yeah,
cultivating the psychic
yeah.
and the authenticity of a child. And if they
Mm.
do it right with love, and if you look at the picture, it says empathy and love.
Yeah,
Yes, and
yeah.
that causes the child to flourish.
Empathy.
Understanding the authenticity of the child, accepting that every child you have is enough. No matter how you see him or perceive him or her, if it's a girl, they're enough just by being who they are. And the only thing they need from you is safety, love, the mirroring of their sense of worth. That's all they need. You know, they
Yeah.
don't need to be shaped. They don't need to be shaped. They don't need to be told what to do and what they should be. They'll do that. They'll discover that. But they just need protection and love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
And while you're talking about kids, what they need, and this is Mompreneurs, is about mothers and women.
Hmm.
What do we need?
Mothers, oh dear,
Mother,
we
women,
need,
what do we need?
yes, 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 totally. Because again, I'm gonna say, you see that child with the tree,
Yeah.
the land is us, mothers. We are the ones that we need to have a lot of love, a lot of nourishment, a lot of care, because in our land is where the child is growing. And if our land is not fertilized by self care, time for ourselves, and love, and a good relationship that is supporting us, uh, a community that is helping us, then we are going to be so isolated, and we will feel so sad and intolerant and impatient and depressive. Then our fruit, which is the child, is not going to grow properly, right? So by all means, we need, as parents or mothers particularly, we need a lot of love, support, community, friends, rest, time for ourselves. And that is a responsibility of the mother, as much
Mm,
as much as is also the husband to support. But you, as a mother, you need to take ownership of that self-care, or of that boundaries to the world, to everything. It has to be you.
mm.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, and I mean, all this sounds nice, and we heard this, I heard it before, and I'm personally practicing all this. I'm really, it's
Mm-hmm,
on my own
mm-hmm,
journey on that,
mm-hmm.
and I have clients, and I know other women who say, but how to do it? Yes, all sound good, but how?
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
telling you on going on how. Just I like
Yeah.
to say
Yeah.
that.
When there is a will, there is a way, they say, right? So if you really
Yeah,
want to work it, you can't. And I know we are not all blessed to have, resources at times. Like I said, I'm very blessed to be able to afford having a nanny and, having an
yeah,
assistant. I'm very blessed, but not all of us have that. But if there is a will, there is a way. So, to the best of your capabilities, I guess you need to prioritize what is it important for you, right? What is it important? Like I said in my example as well, I could do more money, but I need to prioritize what's important to me. Do I want my sanity and my rest, or I can do more money but go crazy on being all nervous and, snappy and so on? But I need to prioritize. So, to the level that you can, prioritize you, take care of you. Even if you go a walk on Zabil Park, just one day go there, or every morning wake up earlier and do your routine of self care. So I think there is no excuse. If you really want to, you can make it work, I would
yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Luz. It was
Pleasure.
a pleasure having you here. Thank you for, I know your time is very valuable, so I'm very grateful
Thank
for you coming and
thank
talking
you.
to us. And really looking forward to what you are up to,
Yeah, thank you.
what's new, what you are doing. I like to acknowledge your passion and how your care that you have for fellow women, mothers,
Hmm.
human beings, and how you care about children. uh,
Yes.
I know you are a very kind woman, and you want to make a difference. For everyone who listened, the book is available on Amazon.com, on the website, Luz's website, positivelivingua.com. Also, if you want to work with Luz, you can go on the same website, and send her a message. And thank you again.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you
and
so much, Dana. Thank you so much for the invitation. And if any women watching this, please do take care of yourselves. Don't forget that you are also important, that you matter, and that it's only you that should see you the most. So Take care of yourself. Thank you, Dana. I appreciate the interview, for always giving me platform in your social media channels. Thank you. I appreciate you, and really, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.